Hi everyone, my name's Catherine. I live in New Zealand and I really like watching YouTube videos about food prep and meal prep and freezer meals, and I love cooking, so I thought I'd just give it a go, and this is my first ever video, so I thought I'd take you along with me today. So here's all the food that I'm planning on making today. Some of it will be meal prep for the week, chopping up vegetables, and some of it will be some freezer meals. So I'll start over here. I've got some freezer bags. I'm planning to make some breakfast burritos and chicken fajitas or that type of thing for the freezer and maybe for the week. So I found this deal on tortillas, gluten-free tortillas. They were $1 each, so I got about 10 packs and thought I'd use them in the freezer. I have these beans here ready for making burrito type meals. I have some frozen onions just to make that prep quite easy. I've got some vegetables I'm going to chop and wash, so I've got some strawberries, some mushrooms, some capsicum, and tonight we're going to have the salmon that was reduced. So it was usually $15 and I got it for about $10 each, so that seemed like a really good deal. So we're going to have salmon, asparagus, and I have some leftovers here that I need to use up. So we have some baked potatoes there we're going to have with that meal as well. And then I have some leftover steak here, which I'm going to then make some kind of burrito type steak meal. I also have some other leftovers here, some roasted beetroot. So I'm going to make a roasted beetroot feta and parsley salad. And that's going to go with another meal this week using up this chicken. So I'm going to make a kind of salad bowl, Turkish kebab type meal along with that salad that I'll make. And then I'm going to make with this beef over here. I have 1 kg of beef, so I'm going to make some stuffed capsicums, and if I have any left over I'll freeze it as a freezer meal, or I'll make some meatballs or burger patties to freeze. And then I've got some just leftover chopped onion that I'll put into a meal. I've got some cheese that I want to grate and add to these burrito type meals. I've got some eggs and bacon that I'm going to cook up to make into breakfast burritos. I've got some corn here that if I get time I'll make into corn fritters with some bacon if I have any left over. And then with the chicken, making that salad bowl, making some into chicken fajitas, and then I'll see where I'm at that point, if I freeze the rest or what the plan is. So there's my kind of haul ready for doing some prep today. So I've just got my bacon all laid out to be baked and some chicken ready to be baked, so I'm just going to season it. So I actually got this for free as a kind of handout at the supermarket, meat spice blend, and it has kind of Mexican-y flavours. So I'm just going to add that to the meat. That's quite nice. I'm just going to add a little bit of extra coriander, ground coriander. This is going to be for my chicken fajitas. Right. Just a little bit of extra garlic powder because I really like garlic. And some extra cumin because again I really like cumin. Right. I've already added some black pepper and a little bit of oil. I'll just get some tongs. I'll do the other side, so I'll just flip them over. I'll just do a little bit of seasoning on this side. The bacon, the chicken. So I'm just going to wash some vegetables now and get them ready. Now I'm just going to chop up these asparagus and I'll get it prepared for dinner tonight. So I've just cooked up my fajita mixture, some corn, onions, peppers or capsicum and some seasoning. Just going to let that cool down and then add the chicken once it's ready out of the oven. Now I'm just going to prep my breakfast burrito mix. So I'm just using the same pan because I thought there's just a little bit extra flavour in there, it should be fine. So I'm just melting a little bit of butter and a little bit of oil. And then I'm going to add some mushrooms. So I think in this breakfast burrito we're going to have mushrooms, scrambled egg, and some bacon. Okay, so I'm just going to prep my salmon and my mixture for my stuffed peppers at the same time because they kind of need similar things. So I'll just add the mince to this bowl. So in this bowl I already have some garlic chopped up and some mushrooms chopped up. Now I'm just going to add a kg of mince, and then I'll add these onions into here that were just left over. Just go and wash my hands. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to marinate these salmon. So they did actually come with this marinade. It's like a manuka honey and soy glaze. And that sounds really nice, but my daughter I don't think would like that. She likes it a little bit more plain. So I'm just going to marinate it myself. And I might keep that glaze for something else another time. I'll just keep it in the fridge. Maybe I'll make honey soy chicken or something. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some ginger onto the salmon. And I'm going to keep them in these little trays because I can bake them in them, which makes it quite handy. So I'm just adding some ginger, and so that's why I'm prepping both the stuffed peppers mixture and the salmon at the same time, because I have similar ingredients. I'm kind of wanting a Japanese type flavour, Asian type flavour into both. So I'm going to add some ginger into this one as well. And I'm probably just going to use all of this up. And a good tip is that you can just get a piece of ginger and keep it in your freezer just like this. It'll last forever. And then it's easy to grate in a little microplane like this, or maybe even a bigger grater. But yeah, just keeps your ginger fresh. So add a little bit of ginger into here. That's all done. And then both the salmon and the stuffed pepper mixture, I want to have some soy sauce. Add that. A little soy sauce here. A little bit in here as well. I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil. Just gives a nice flavour. A little bit into here. And then on my salmon, I'm going to add some garlic powder. Just a little bit. And I already have garlic in here, but I still just like a little bit of garlic powder. I think it just makes it a little bit more garlicky all around. Into my stuffed peppers mixture, I'm going to add some oregano. Salt and pepper. And then of course in my salmon mixture I need to add some lemon juice. There we go. Try not to get the seeds in, and once it's all cooked and baked later on for dinner, I will add a bit more lemon juice and maybe a bit more soy sauce on top. But there we go, so that's going to marinate now till dinner time. Here's my stuffed peppers mixture at the moment. I'm just going to add, got the seasonings, it's got some veggies in there, I'm just going to add a little bit of almond flour. That's going to be the binding agent, and I've got an egg in there as well. So I'm just going to mix it all up and add it to the stuffed peppers now. I've got my mixture that I just made out of leftovers. There's the leftover steak. I've got this can of black beans and chili sauce. And then I just added some more spices, Mexican type spices. So that'll be nice for just a filling for a type of burrito type thing, I think. And I actually have some extra capsicum under here that I didn't use, so I might chop some of that up and put it into this mixture as well. Here's my stuffed peppers, ready to go. So here are my 3 burrito mixtures. I've got the steak, leftover steak with some capsicum and some black beans with chili sauce. I have some breakfast burritos, so this has mushrooms, some scrambled egg, a little bit of capsicum and some frozen spinach. In there, a little bit of onion. And then I have my chicken fajita type one, but I added some beans. So I added some kind of chili beans with salsa in a can, and a can of pinto beans and a can of corn to this one. And so now I'm going to cut up some bacon. I'm going to add some of it to this mixture for the breakfast burritos, some of it into this bowl for the corn fritters, and then I'm going to cut up my chicken and add that into the chicken one, and then shred some cheese, and then we'll be ready to assemble the burritos. I'm just going to make the beetroot feta salad now. So I have some parsley from the garden here, I'm going to chop up finely, and I have some spinach from the garden as well. Just going to chop those up. A little bit of this parsley I'm going to put into the corn fritters. And the rest of it I'll put some into the corn fritters, some into the beetroot salad, and I'll just chop up the spinach as well. Not super fine. Okay. So I have my beetroot here, and I'm just going to put this into the bottom of the container. I'm not eating it today, so I'll just keep it in the fridge. And I'll just add the dressing on the day I'm going to eat it, which will be like a balsamic vinegar, olive oil, maybe a little bit of honey dressing. So I've got my beetroot here, and so I did just put a whole beetroot in some tin foil and roasted it while I was just using the oven for something else. I like to try and prep things as much as possible. It just makes working, having a young child, so that much easier if you come home and there's food already done, or even if you just chopped up some things, it just makes things quicker. So usually I like to meal prep on a Wednesday, and I'll meal prep some dinners and some lunches. Usually I like to make double the amount of dinner, and then we have it for lunch the next day as well, or we freeze some. So I do that on a Wednesday when I have a little bit of time, and then on a Sunday I like to try and meal prep a couple more things. I also like to go through what I have in my fridge or my pantry, or my freezer, and just try and use things up and kind of meal plan the supermarket shopping from that. And I always like to use specials and things at the supermarket as well. So I just skinned that beetroot, so I'll just do this one. Now one thing I do need to get better at is cleaning up while I'm cooking. I think while I'm cooking I just kind of get excited and I cook lots of different things all at once, trying to use my time efficiently, but it does mean that I'm left with a big mess at the end and lots to clean up. So that'll be something that I need to work on. Okay, so I've got my 2 beetroots here. They're all skinned, and it does make it easier that it's cooked to kind of get that skin off. I'm just going to chop them up into like kind of little cubes and add them to the container, and then I'm going to add some feta cheese on top. And then with the leftover feta cheese, I'm going to add that into my corn fritter mixture, just so it's all used up. Just going to get both of my things here. This is for my corn fritters and this is for my beetroot salad. So I'm just going to save a little bit in there for that one. Put a bit in here, and I'm just going to crumble it with my hands. So usually when I make my chicken Turkish salad bowls, I like to make like a grain-free tabbouleh. I do like to eat kind of low carb or paleo if I can, and it actually tastes, I think, better than normal tabbouleh that's made with couscous. So I usually like to make it with kind of riced cauliflower that I'll do up myself in the food processor. Lots of parsley, some cucumber and tomatoes and mint and lemon juice and olive oil. But cauliflower is super expensive at the moment, so that's the thing with New Zealand. You kind of have to cook if you want to have a budget or save a bit of money shopping. You kind of need to cook what is on special, what vegetables in season, and for some reason this week cauliflowers are too expensive. So I'm not going to make the tabbouleh, but instead I'm making this beetroot salad to go with it, and I think that will be pretty yummy. So that's my beetroot salad all done. I'll add the dressing when I come to eat it on the day. Put that in the fridge, and then I'll make up my corn fritters. So again with the corn fritters, this is my mixture at the moment. I like to do a low carb kind of paleo mixture, so it doesn't have any flour in it, but it actually comes out really yummy and fluffy, and my husband, who doesn't eat paleo, doesn't notice the difference. So I'm going to add a couple of eggs. I don't have that many left, so I might do 4. I think it does need quite a lot of eggs if you're not using kind of regular flour, making sure it's all combined. I'll just whisk that up. Whisk my eggs up. I've got my bacon, parsley and feta cheese in the bottom. So to kind of make the flour mixture, I'm going to add some almond flour. And I just eyeball this, but that's probably about half a cup. You'll come to find if you watch any more videos of mine that I don't really measure, so I can try and tell you what measurements would be. I don't have much tapioca flour left. This is either kind of arrowroot flour or tapioca flour. So I will just use the rest of the bag. So that's maybe 1/4 cup. And baking powder, I would say 1 teaspoon maybe. You want it to be quite fluffy. So we'll just give that a go. See how that goes. So I guess without measuring, things are always a little bit different. You know, every time I make corn fritters, they might be different. Sometimes I won't use feta cheese. Sometimes I won't use herbs or bacon. I might use different seasonings. And I guess the flour mixture might be a little bit different, or there might be a different amount of eggs. But it always tends to work out. So I'm just adding some salt and pepper. I don't have any fresh garlic left, so I'm just going to add quite a bit of garlic powder. And I guess I'm using similar seasonings to what I've been using today. So ground coriander, smoked paprika. I'm running out of that, so I'm going to buy some more spices soon. Gonna use some oregano again. So yeah, I really use similar spices, and I guess I do favour certain ones. Like I really love cumin. Right, I'll give that a go. So even though I've used almond flour and tapioca flour, I think that looks like a pretty good base for corn fritters. Now I have a little bit of these frozen onions left, and I'm just going to add those because I just like to use things up where I can. You know, I'd rather use this up than have to put it in the freezer and it's defrosted a little bit by now. So we'll use these. This was 500 grams of onion for $2 at Countdown. That was frozen and chopped up for me. So that saved me a lot of time today. And when I make corn fritters, I like to make a lot. I like to freeze it, and it's a quick breakfast or lunch. And yeah, I just think if I'm going to make something, I might as well make extra and freeze it or eat it throughout the week. If you're trying to eat low carb or paleo, I think most meals are quite easy. You just kind of have meat and vegetables. You kind of skip the grain or the carb. And but breakfasts I find can be difficult if you don't plan ahead. I'm gonna switch to a spoon. So corn fritters in the freezer, you can just warm one up. It's a really easy, quick breakfast. These breakfast burritos I've actually never made because I guess eating low carb I don't really have tortillas or wraps. And New Zealand isn't that great for kind of alternatives in the low carb world, like I guess you'd find in America. So I guess I eat more meat and vegetables and occasionally get some kind of really expensive paleo bread, but it'll be like $12 for a loaf. So yeah, I guess that is one thing to know, that New Zealand isn't cheap when you're trying to cook. So I do have feta cheese. I'm just going to add a little bit of shredded cheese. It's just Colby cheese. I just feel like it would make it nice. And I just shredded that before. So, smells good. I think that's ready. And I'm going to show you my special machine that I make perfect corn fritters in. So I'll take you along to see how to make perfect corn fritters. And this is a multi-cooker from Kmart, which is, in New Zealand, it's kind of like our Target, I guess, or Walmart. It's kind of like our big store that you can get cheap things in and everyone loves and spends lots of money whenever they go there. So I have 2 of them, and they just cook perfectly round corn fritters that are just amazing and fluffy, and I don't think I could ever cook them any other way anymore. So I'll take you through how to cook those. So here's my setup to make corn fritters. So I have 2 of these multi-cookers, and they have 4 different settings. So this is the pancake one, but you can make waffles, little mini donuts, and paninis. Please excuse the gross residue left on this one. I've tried everything to clean it, but I can't really do it. It's just kind of leftover cheese. So if I've got 2 going, it makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker. So just going to spoon on a bit onto each one. It's kind of trial and error figuring out how much you need to make the perfect one, but I guess that's what the first one is for, just trying to figure that out. So there we go, that's probably good. And this one might need a little bit more. Okay, and then close it up. And it will take a couple minutes. So I'll just do the next one. And it's also, I guess, the first run is to see if you're testing a mixture, to see is it going to stick together. Do I need to add more egg or more flour or you know, or is actually going to be good. And I guess the most important thing is to probably leave them closed like that for long enough so that they have time to cook properly. So here I am just making the Turkish chicken marinade. I've just added half a teaspoon of cinnamon and then 1 heaped teaspoon of cumin. I'm just adding the last bit of coriander, ground coriander that I have. Now I've run out of smoked paprika here, so instead I'm just using what's left in my little container of a Moroccan seasoning blend that I just buy from the supermarket, so probably about 1 teaspoon. I've added a little bit of salt and pepper and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, but you could add fresh garlic. I've just run out. Then I just went to find some paprika because I've run out of that smoked paprika, so I added a little bit of that. 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I decided not to measure it because I just wanted to use up what was left in the lemon, which was probably about right. Lost a little pip in there that I'm picking out. And then I just need 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. And then you'll see that I'm just going to mix it all around and chop up the chicken and just add it to that, and I'll just let the chicken marinate for a few days or whenever I'm ready to use it to cook up for dinner one night. So the recipe for this is actually a air fryer recipe, and I found that it cooks up really well in the air fryer, but you could also barbecue it or put it on the stove or oven or make it into actual kebabs on a stick, so just cook it however you like. As you see, I just added a little bit of almond milk, probably about 1 tablespoon. The recipe does call for Greek yogurt, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I used almond milk instead, but it seems to work pretty well. So the reason that I like to make this meal is because in New Zealand especially, our takeaways are quite expensive. And so if I was going to order a kind of kebab salad bowl from our local Turkish restaurant, it would cost $16 just for one person. So if I'm able to, you know, marinate this and before I'm kind of wanting to use it and prep everything ahead of time, it just makes it quite easy and quick and a lot cheaper for me to make these at home, and then we get to choose exactly what we want. It can be a bit healthier as well, so that's why I like to make this meal. And I kind of like to do that, try and hack takeaways sometimes, or just meals that I find that I like, try to make them at home a bit cheaper, and then I can make them exactly how I like. So there it is. I'll take you over, let's have a wee look. Oh, yep, they're looking nice and brown. So they're looking really nice. So look at that. I didn't have to add any oil. They're perfectly round. They're super crispy. Oh, dropped it. And, you know, as long as I have 2 machines going, it is pretty easy. Take these out. So I'm going to keep making these, and then I'll start, oops, this one's not done so well. So after I've made the rest of these, then I'll let them cool down before packaging them all up. Okay, so I'm going to make my burritos now. I'm going to start with the breakfast burritos. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cheese on some of my mixture. Usually would probably overfill this. I'm going to try to restrain myself, but that looks quite full already. And roll it up. There we go. It's all falling out. And then I'll just place it same side down in a baking tin next to me, and then I can roll them all up, put them in the freezer, and keep some for the week. So I've just made the breakfast burritos and put them in a freezer bag. So now I'm going to move on to the ones with leftover steak in them from this week. So my plan is to just keep those ones to eat this week, and then I will make the chicken burritos, kind of fajita burritos, and those ones will be freezer ones. So I make sure I get a little bit of meat, a little bit of beans, a little bit of capsicum in each one. It's going to be a little bit messy. Roll it up, and then I'll put them in a baking tray, and then I'll just keep the baking tray in the fridge this week. Then once I'm ready to bake them, that'll be an easy meal, and I'll just serve it with some salad. So here's the finished product. Over here is my breakfast burritos that I'm keeping for the week. As you can see, they are very cracked. These were the first ones I did, and I didn't warm them up, and so I'm sure they'll taste good, but I don't think I did them very well. Here's my stuffed capsicum. So I'm just going to keep them all for the week, cook them all up, have them for dinner and lunch, and if I have any left over after they're cooked, I'll freeze those as cooked ones. Here's my corn fritters. So I'm going to keep some of those for the week and freeze some of them. Here's my steak and bean burritos. We'll have those sometime this week. Here's my marinated chicken for the Turkish salad bowls, and here's the beetroot feta salad. Here I've got lots of burritos, so I've got 2 bags of chicken fajita burritos that I'll put in the freezer, and they're also got double layers, so there's a lot there. Here's my bag of breakfast burritos that I'll put in the freezer, and they're all individually wrapped as well. Here's my marinated salmon that I have, so I have 2 of those. We'll have those for dinner tonight. And my prepped asparagus, I might just put that in the oven or the air fryer to cook up tonight. So I think that's quite a good effort for a couple of hours work. I'm going to wrap this all away, put it all away, and yeah, so thanks so much for coming in my kitchen today. I hope my video wasn't too bad. I hope that I'll get better if I do any more, and yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. So here's the final dinner tonight. This one's my one: salmon, asparagus, leftover baked potato and some egg. This one's for my husband, he likes rice with his. And then here's my daughter's one.